Here's what I discovered in my decades as an entrepreneur and a coach. Your brain is continuously rewiring itself based on who you spend time with, including when you spend too much time alone. Hashtag working from home. This isn't motivational rah-rah nonsense, not at all. It's neuroscience. The legendary business philosopher Jim Rohn, he understood this decades before there was even brain imaging technology to prove it. He said, you become the combined average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and you'll have their combined attitude, health, and income. Now, when I first encountered this concept, maybe 20 years ago or so,
my analytical mind immediately questioned it. I thought, that's an interesting hypothesis, but where's the data?
Well, today I can tell you, the data is overwhelming. This principle isn't just true, it's measurable, and it's happening to you right now, whether you realize it or not. But here's where it gets interesting for you fast-track high performers.
You've mastered some degree of complexity in your field that would make most people's heads spin.
And you can debug 1,000 lines of code, or optimize algorithms, or manage complex projects, or design systems that handle millions of transactions, yet somehow you're diminished in executive meetings. Your well-thought-out ideas get overlooked, and less technically competent colleagues get promoted or tapped for the best projects over you. Does it sound familiar? Well, here's what's happening. You've surrounded yourself with other bright minds, but you've created a technical echo chamber. By that I mean everyone in your circle speaks the same language and they think the same way and has the same professional blind spots. You're all incredibly competent, but you're all missing the same critical skills. Just think about your typical day. Who do you interact with? Other engineers, other scientists, other analysts, people just like you who communicate in technical speak, who value precision over persuasion, and who believe the best ideas should win on merit alone. But in the corporate world, in labs, and the best designed workspaces, and steakhouses after hours, the best solution doesn't always win. The person who can communicate the best solution wins. The person who can build relationships around their ideas wins. The person who understands the business implication of their contributions wins. Now, let me explain what's actually happening in your brain. There's a phenomenon called neuromirroring. When you spend time with people, your brain literally starts to mirror their neural patterns. Mirror neurons fire both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else performing that very same action.
This is why when you play tennis with someone better than you, your game improves. And when you play chess with a grandmaster, you start thinking several moves ahead. Your brain is literally learning and adapting to match the patterns that it observes.
Make sense? But here's the critical part for your career. This mirroring effect applies to communication styles and social behaviors and professional presence just as much as it does to your technical skills. So if you're constantly surrounded by people who communicate in technical jargon, who avoid office politics, and who focus purely on technical merits or ideas, guess what? Your brain is mirroring those patterns. You're becoming excellent at technical communication with technical people, but you're failing to develop the broader communication and influence skills that you truly need to advance. Now, I've seen this pattern over and over in my practice. Brilliant PhD physicists who can't explain their research to a non-technical audience, or software architects who design elegant systems but can't convince management to implement them, and data scientists who can find incredible insights but can't translate them into business value. So here's what I want you to do right now, and I mean literally, just pause this video and do this exercise. Take out your phone and open your notes app and just list the 5 people you spend the most time with professionally and personally. Got your list? Good. Now, for each person, I want you to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 in these areas. The first one is technical or on-the-job competence. You probably all score high in this area. How do you rate their hard skills? Next is their communication skills with non-technical audiences. Now, follow that by rating their interpersonal savvy and relationship building skills. And the last 2 are rating their executive presence and influence, and finally, their career trajectory. Now be honest and don't let your personal relationships cloud your assessment. If most of your 5 people score low in those areas, you're surrounding yourself with people who reinforce your hard skills or what you studied to get where you are, but they don't challenge your professional development weaknesses. Let me give you a specific example. I coached a consultant who was truly a brilliant guy in a PhD, but he'd been stuck in the same level for 5 years, while less technical colleagues got promoted all around him. Now, here's what we found. His closest work relationships were with other consultants, even though he worked for a multinational corporation with numerous disciplines. His lunch group was all consultants, and his after-work friends were mostly other PhDs. All incredibly smart people, all scoring 8s and 9s on competence and all scoring 3s and 4s on communication and influence skills. He was trapped in a technical echo chamber that was actually limiting his growth. So what's the solution? It's strategic network diversification. It's intentionally adding people to your inner circle who complement your weaknesses, not just those who reinforce your strengths. Here's my 3-tier approach. For tier 1, all you need is at least one person in your life who's already where you want to be professionally. Not necessarily technically, although that can be valuable, but professionally. Someone who's navigated the path from individual contributor to executive, from technical expert to strategic leader. These people should make you slightly uncomfortable. They should challenge your assumptions about how business really works. They should speak a language that's foreign to your technical senses, and that's the language of stakeholder management, of business strategy, and of organizational dynamics. Now for tier 2, these are people who bridge your technical and business worlds. Maybe they're a technical product manager, or maybe they're former engineers who moved into business development. Maybe they're accountants who specialize in your industry. These people are invaluable because they can teach you how to translate your technical brilliance into business value. They can show you how to frame your ideas in terms of ROI, competitive advantage, and strategic objectives. Now, tier 3, these are your peers who are also working on their own professional development. Maybe they're other colleagues who've recognized the same challenges you have. Maybe they're people from completely different fields who are strong where you're weak. The key is that they're actively working on the skills you need to develop. When you surround yourself with people who are also growing, naturally, that growth mindset becomes contagious. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds great in theory, but how do I actually find these people? And more importantly, why would they want to spend time with me? Well, you have to be intentional about identifying your target network. So start by researching people in your company or industry who've made the transition that you want to make. Look for consultants who became VPs, or data scientists who became chief data officers, or researchers who became research directors, and study their LinkedIn profiles. Look at their career progression and identify the pivot points where they moved from purely technical roles to leadership roles. The second step, well, here's where your professional skills actually become an advantage. These successful professionals often have technical challenges they're dealing with, or they need insights from someone with deep technical expertise. Instead of asking for mentorship, which puts them in the position of giving, offer value first. Maybe you can solve a technical problem they're facing. For example, providing research insights relevant to their business challenges, or maybe introducing them to cutting-edge developments in your field that could impact their strategy. Now, the third step is important. Don't try to completely overhaul your network overnight. Take some time and start by adding maybe one new person every quarter, or join one professional association outside your technical specialty in the next month, and find a way to attend one cross-functional meeting where you wouldn't normally participate. I suggested this to a client who started attending business strategy meetings as an observer. Initially, he felt completely out of place because the conversation seemed vague and unfocused compared to the precision of discussions with colleagues who were more adjacent to his zone of genius. But over time, he started to understand how business decisions get made, how priorities get set, and how resources get allocated. When you start spending time with these new connections, you want to pay attention to how they communicate, not just what they communicate. Notice how they frame problems and present solutions, and how they handle disagreements, and how they build consensus. Your mirror neurons are going to start picking up these patterns automatically, but you can accelerate the process by being consciously aware of it. Now, I know my audience, and I recognize that many of you are introverts or experience some semblance of social anxiety or nervousness when you're in the spotlight. Many of you chose technical or left-brain analytical fields precisely because you prefer working with systems over people. So it stands to reason that the idea of networking and relationship building might feel inauthentic or manipulative, but allow me to just reframe this for you. This isn't about becoming a different person or abandoning your core beliefs. This is about adding complementary skills that will make your technical contributions so much more impactful. Because you're not becoming less analytical or technical or precise, you're becoming more strategic, persuasive, and valuable. Also, let's address the time constraint. I know you're already working long hours on challenging technical problems. Where are you supposed to find time for network building? The important thing to note is you don't need more time. You need different time allocation. Instead of spending 100% of your professional development time on technical skills, for example, spend 70% on technical skills and 30% on relationship and communication skills. That might mean reading one business book or having coffee with someone from the business side instead of always lunching with your technical or zone of genius colleagues. Here's what happens when you implement this strategically. Your technical skills, they don't diminish. They actually amplify. When you can communicate technical concepts to a non-technical audience, your ideas get implemented. When you understand business strategy, your technical solutions address real market needs. And when you build relationships across functions, your projects get prioritized and resourced. I've seen this transformation hundreds of times. If you want to lead technical organizations, you can't continue to only associate with individual contributors. And if you want to influence business strategy, you can't only network with specialists. So complete that 5-people audit I mentioned earlier and be brutally honest about where your network is strong and where it's limiting your growth. And then identify one person who represents where you want to be in 5 years. Just research their background, find a way to provide value to them, and make contact within the next 2 weeks. Then commit to spending just 30% of your professional development time on non-zone of genius skills. And over the next 6 months, track, measure, and treat it with the same rigor you apply to your zone of genius. And remember, your expertise got you this far, but strategic network building will take you the rest of the way. Thanks for watching.